Oseo.
Oseo.
Here we go with another part to this famous story. I'm introducing Athena, and I'm going to start this way. The waters are the honey of all beings, and all beings are the honey of the waters. The radiant, immortal person who is in the waters is the seed of that which flows. Athena. This is the radiant, the immortal one. That is from the ancient Hindu Upanishads. I inserted the name Athena in the place of Atman, which would mean the self. And that's what this is about. I have to tell a kind of a truncated story of the myth. James Hillman said the Greek myths, are our soulscape, and that's very helpful. In this one, we're talking about Jason and the Argonauts. Have you ever heard of that? Hollywood did do in the 60s, an early Technicolor movie of Jason and the Argonauts. It's very good. Certainly the producers did their homework in it, and there are references in my talk about this. Basically, in Greece, kind of north of Attica, was a country called Boeotia. And also Boeotia legendarily is reported to be the home of people with blonde hair. In this case, the king of Boeotia wanted to reclaim the land because two major rivers come down from the Pindar Mountains and flood this part of the land. It's like a marshland, a swamp. So he wanted to reclaim that. Reclamation. And he needed the permission of the sovereignty, the queen, the goddess, Athena, who controls all waters. And so he enlisted Jason, who was the son of Aeson, who was a king of Thessaly, to go to Colchis to consult with Medea, who's the sister of Athena, in order to get Athena's permission to carry out this water reclamation project like that. So, up short, the story is that Jason enlisted, several mythical fellows, and that they got on this ship and they sailed. Actually, they rowed in those days across the Black Sea. The Black Sea used to be actually the Euxine Sea, meaning the friendly sea. And on the very southeastern part of that sea is a very ancient city called Colchis. It's actually an ancient Egyptian colony there. The idea of Jason pursuing the golden fleece, which was also installed there in Colchis, is an interpolation of a later time. This story is strictly from Apollodorus of Rhodes, who has compiled, all these ancient relevant, myth into the one that we're following here. So in Colchis, that is where Jason encounters the woman Medea. Medea is a medicine woman, an herbalist. Later, she's demonized and called a sorceress and so forth. But Colchis is actually well known in the ancient world for healing, for potions and herbs. And Medea, is a specialist in potions. And so when Jason knows, what the proposal is to find her sister, Athena, that we're calling that, then she gives him a potion that will dissolve his male ego in order to approach, shall we call her, the great goddess, or the great virgin goddess there. And also, if I look up here, I have a frog. The frog is the earliest and most ancient netter of Egypt, of the Nile, as she emerges out of the slime of the river. She's very primordial being, and she's the ally of Medea. So she governs everything of the female, the fertility and childbirth, and she even personifies the woman's uterus. So you can see that who she is in relation to Medea. So after Jason has been sufficiently dissolved of his male ego, mysteriously, he is transported way over to North Africa, to just west of the Nile Delta is the beginning of the country later called Libya. Libya is a Greek name for Lamia. What there is there is this huge shallow lake. It was created during the Ice Age by the moisture blowing off of north of the Mediterranean, the European countries, over there to North Africa, and created this huge lake, we'll call it. It's called Tritonis, meaning the sea of purity. And so also accordingly, Athena even gathers the name of Tritonia from that. And here where he encounters her at this place is what I have made this painting of as her apparition here. Now this painting I'm now referring to, I have replicated this from an artifact that was found in, I forget where, but one of the ancient cities along the Mediterranean. And I've replicated it just exactly the way that I found it. And clearly it shows me everything about her. Now, Athena is a Greek, it's actually a misrendering of the Egyptian word het, net, which net is the Egyptian name for her, and het meaning the shrine, the hut of Net. And that place where this took place, on the very edge of Libya and Egypt, right there, that's where her shrine was made. And later that became a place called Sais. Sais is a kind of city that grew up there, as well as the shrine of her. So also there, as Sebek, the crocodile person, is her son, there was also with her a shrine for Sebek on that place too. Now how she is appearing here, she is appearing as a bivalve mollusk. And this shape becomes her symbol, painted or whatever in other places, and including my Pyramid Lake in Nevada. So Pyramid Lake in Nevada and the adjoining Winnemucca Lake definitely were recognized as shrines of her. Maybe when the Great Lake in North Africa began to, evaporate, dry up, people left there and came over to this part of the world and found similar situations with these lakes that were left after the earlier, quote, Ice Age. And so this is her symbol of a bivalve mollusk. So all of that is necessary in order to see what this is about, because there Jason has encountered her, Athena, Lamia, Niet, whichever name, and thereby the details of how he reported back to the king of Boeotia, I don't know. But subsequently she becomes the patron goddess of Athens. And on the Acropolis, which rises rather over the city, was the Parthenon was built, where this statue of her, I have a little miniature here, actually miniaturized but accurately, which was huge, installed there in the Parthenon of her, and how these features of the mollusk have been translated into this goddess feature with the shield as the shell and all of these things, and the mantle, so by which she is also called Pallas. Pallas means the mantle of the mollusk, actually. And she's holding in her hand a little statue, a little figure of a Nike, meaning victory. And so this is how she looked. Enlarged, she was sculpted by Phidias of ivory and gold, later captured and destroyed by the invading Persians. And this is all at Athens. However, in Boeotia also there was a temple, maybe founded by Jason, called Alamini. So she's also called Alamini Athena. So, notwithstanding that, she's honored in the place where the king had commissioned Jason to go out there and find her and get her permission. Her connection with Sebek, the crocodile, also then gave her sovereignty over the rivers. So, but basically, she is of all waters. Now, with that, we're going to read a poem from Mary Oliver. The sea, behind everything, behind us women, for instance. Stroke by stroke, my body remembers that life and cries for the lost parts of itself. Fins, gills, opening like flowers into the flesh. My legs want to lock and become one muscle. I swear I know just what the blue-gray scales that shingle the rest of me would feel like. Paradise, sprawled in that mother lap, in that dream house of salt and exercise. What a spillage of nostalgia pleads from the very bones. How they long to give up that long trek inland, the brittle beauty of understanding, and dive and simply become again a flowing body of blind feelings, sleeking along in the luminous roughage of the sea's body, vanished like victory inside that in-sucking Genesis, that roaring flamboyance of her waters, that perfect beginning and conclusion of our own. Yes, I'm willing to be that wild darkness, that long blue body prism of light between the pink lobes. Good.
Oh.